Hey everyone! Here starts my series meant to help anyone, especially the beginners, to gather the information needed to get all the performance that their models can offer. From the 3 RCs I own at the moment, first will be the Tamiya Top Force, a 4-wheel drive buggy kit that dates back to the 90s. So, let's start with a small description of the model. The Top Force is a buggy kit that appeared first in 1991, which uses ball differentials both front and rear, a prop shaft for transmitting the power to the front, and a double-deck chassis design with an undercowl for protecting the bottom of the chassis. It shares many parts and features with the TA-01, the later TA-02 and DF-01 platforms, on which were based models as the 58112 Ford Escort RS Cosworth, the 58161 4x4 Ford F-150 racing truck, and the DF-01 Manta Ray. Also, there is an Evo version of the Top Force, which comes with more upgrades in the box and a different paint scheme, with the rarer orange star dish wheels. While the upgrades offered in the Evo kit are very versatile, the price is double than the one of a normal Top Force. Both versions come with front and rear ball differentials, the same body, wing and undercowl, and most of the parts are also the same, but the Evo has an overall upgraded driveline due to better differentials and some other parts, while also uses the more performant aluminum high-cap shock absorbers. I would say that, if you have the budget for the Evo, go for it, but I would recommend the normal Top Force for casual runs, as you can upgrade it and it can still be cheaper than the Evo. Speaking of upgrades, now let's talk about the common upgrades. For those that don't bother too much maintaining their RCs and don't run on loose surfaces too much, 2 Tamiya 4-wheel drive plastic gear and 2 Tamiya differential bevel gears will worth the extra pennies, as the gear differential, as opposed to the ball ones, will need almost no maintenance. Also, the Tamiya 4-wheel drive plastic gear has some extras that can be used to replace the heavier and more inefficient metal gearbox gears that are in the rear gearbox case. And don't forget, the differential screws have to be bought separate for these Tamiya hop-ups. There are also sealed differential kits out there, such as the Extra Speed one, which comes in a complete or in a version that needs some other parts, both using the Tamiya TD04 differential parts. For these differential kits, you will also need the differential oil suited for the surface you are running the model, but in the end, if you don't really need the performance of a sealed differential, it won't worth the extra money compared to the Tamiya hop-up parts. For Extra Speed, you can use the smaller spur gears from the Tamiya Speed Gear 66 or 69 teeth for TA-01 and TA-02, but make sure that you got the right pinion gear, teeth with Module 6 pitch, and choose the right number of teeth for both the spur and pinion according to your motor and ESC, as motors with higher RPM, lower kV or higher turns, might get too hot on the lower gear ratios, as more RPMs equals with less torque and more strain on the motor and ESC. Also, about the electronics. For a cheap but fast combo, you can get the Robitronic's Razer 10 motor and ESC sets. For more RPMs, higher kV, with a 3-cells lithium polymer battery, you can go up to the 3250 kV set, while on 2 cells, you can get even the 4600 kV set. I initially used the 3000 kV combo, that reached almost 68 km per hour or around 42 miles per hour on the 3-cell HPI Plazma battery in my Top Force. Recently, I got a Hobbywing Max 10 ESC and managed to use it with the spare Robitronic 4000 kV motor I had with the same battery, and my Top Force reached 81 km per hour. That is about 50 miles per hour. You have all the product codes in the description if you want to see what I use or to have a starting point for choosing the electronics. Then, when it comes to durability, you can get some metal parts, excluding the suspension arms, as those will be expensive to replace if they break and will also transmit the impact of a crash to other, costly or hard-to-replace parts, such as the differential cases. For example, the Extra Speed front gearbox cover, front chassis plate, and the Extra Speed or Yeah Racing aluminum motor mount will make your Top Force more solid. But be aware, these are the most essential metal upgrades. There are more useful metal parts for your Top Force in the list in the description, but keep in mind the price and the usefulness. Lastly, I wanted to point out that in the description I put some links to some interesting and detailed topics plus a guide for choosing the differential and shock oil, and also there you will find all the product codes for the parts and electronics I mentioned for the Tamiya Top Force. I hope that you find this video interesting and see you in the next video.